So then day 3, we went to, this was the day of galleries and art and going home. So we started at the Queen's Gallery, back sort of near the Palace of Holyrood, and again it was very well set out. Again, you got an audio tour guide thing which was very good, and it was well laid out. It was a little bit messy sort of once you got to the top and you had to figure out which bit you wanted to do first. The exhibition was Charles II, and of course he makes for a great person to do a whole exhibition on, and that was really, really good and enjoyable, and I think more than anything my grandmother enjoyed it, which of course is the most important thing for me. And at one point there was a short talk about this one set piece, and that was very good too. So if you do go at any point, I recommend staying for the short talk if it's not too out of sort of your time, because I found that probably actually the best part, because it was much more sort of, for me at least, it was much more about the history and sort of the things to do with it, and that for me mattered more than the art pieces, but that's me. Then we had a quick lunch in the cafe there, which was very good. So if you are there, I do recommend the food. I think it was quite reasonably priced, maybe a little bit expensive, but easy food for lunch. So then we went to the Scottish National Gallery. This was very easy to find, except for the entrance, which was actually around the back. But aside from that, it was good. It was really quite big. We didn't have a lot of time because we did need to get back to the flat so we could pack up last few things and go home. But it was good from what I got to see. There was again parts I had to miss. But one of the things I did notice for myself is I much prefer paintings of sort of landscapes and nature and rainbows and whatever, because I don't know, I think portraits and Jesus, they're just not things I need paintings of, and that's me. I am definitely not an art critic, or I've never really cared that much about art, to be honest. Like, no, when I say that it sounds silly, but when, as in terms of in school and whatever, art was always the subject I hated, simply because it's not my kind of thing, and I know a lot of people can appreciate it, and I can appreciate it, but it's just not my thing, and I definitely preferred the landscape paintings. Also, some of them were just named so bad. There was one that was called An Old Bearded Man with a Shell, and guess what the painting was of? I mean, that was really embarrassing. I just felt, you know, name it something a little bit more exciting, and some of them just were called A Portrait of an Old Man. It's like, no, give it a name. But that's, again, just me. Okay, so now back to the whole we get to places early thing. We got to the airport, I think, with maybe 2-3 hours to spare, and we'd already checked in online. So we sort of rushed through to the security thing with the baggage or whatever. And there, just before we went in, we found out that our flight was delayed by an hour. So we sat down at Cafe Nero, I think it's called, and we just had drinks there. That was actually a little bit disappointing for me, at least the one I had. And we just sat there doing Sudokus. Luckily there was actually a charging point there, so I charged my phone because it wasn't fully charged yet. And also I discovered podcasts like a day before, so I listened to some of those and did some Sudokus and whatever. Then we finally went through, because both of us were getting a little bit nervous, even though technically we still had, I think, about 2 hours till our delayed flight. But we both thought, you know, may as well go towards the gate area. We didn't know which gate we had to go to, but we thought, we'll go towards there. So we went through security, that was all fine. And then we got to the gate area and we sort of sat there and sat there and sat there, did more Sudokus, whatever. And then our flight was delayed even more, because why not? Our flight was meant to leave, I think, at 5 to 8, but at around 8 o'clock we finally got our gate number. So we went there, and then we had to wait in the queue for quite a while, which of course you can't sit there, so my grandmother was also a bit like, do I sit down or do we just wait here, whatever. And then we finally went through, went on the plane, flew home. At this point it's like 9:30, and then we had to take the bus back, and that was, by the time we got home, I think it was 1 in the morning. But that's okay. As I said that, I looked down at my sheet of paper and it said, flight equals very delayed in brackets, but that's okay. So, you know, at least I have a good attitude about that. Okay, that was my alphabet adventures. I hope you enjoyed this new format, this new style. I hope it's okay. I hope it works. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. And if it only goes up in like 5 months, I'm sorry. But I must say I am sort of excited to see how my editing is going to work for this one, because it's been a while since I've done alphabet adventures. Also, yes, this is E for Edinburgh. Okay, bye bye.